Electric cars are everywhere today, but that wasn't always the case. They were invented all the way back in the 1800s. So why did it take so long for them to take off? Not to mention the invention of the hydrogen or peanut oil engines that also never took off. So what happened? Are electric cars really saving the planet, or are they just a front for an industry that's just as bad as oil? But first, remember to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another episode. Let's bring it all the way back to the beginning when a gentleman named Robert Anderson built the very first electric moving vehicle, a little janky little carriage, in 1832. By the 1900s, EVs were popping up all over the place, and in fact, 38% of vehicles were electric in the US, way ahead of the gas or steam engines. They were quiet, no fumes, and they were perfect for the city. Gas cars, not so much. You had to actually crank them by hand, and they were a total pain for customers. Companies like Baker Electric are selling thousands, especially to women, but by 1910, EVs are toast. So what actually happened? Well, gas cars just took over. Ford drops the 1913 Model T. Cheap as heck, $500 versus $2,000 for an EV. Oil companies like Standard Oil are like, let's build gas stations everywhere. And by 1920, you got a pump on every corner. But EV chargers are almost non-existent. In fact, EVs could only go about 50 to 100 miles at the time, while gas cars are hitting over 200 miles. Now, some folks may say that the oil companies got together and helped ban EVs, but that's not really the case. It was more about the money. Gas was cheap, batteries were well complicated and sometimes overpriced, and it didn't help that the oil companies were helping paving all the roads in America and helping put together the fuel laws. Now let's fast forward to the 70s, where the oil crisis hit. Gas prices spike, and EVs actually get a shot. GMC is messing with a 1973 prototype. AMC's got electric postal Jeeps, but those lead acid batteries are trash. 40 miles tops. Then in 96, GM drops the EV1, the first big EV since the 1900s. It's leased in California, gets 70 to 100 miles. People love it. But in 2003, GM crushes the idea.
General Motors wants to take the EV1 out of commission.
Costs were way too high, there was no chargers, and there was a bunch of oil-backed lawsuits in 2001 that just really didn't help. Now, is this another oil conspiracy to put another EV out of business? Maybe, but GM says it wasn't profitable. But here's where it really gets wild. There's a guy, Stanley Meyer, in the 1970s saying he got a water fuel cell. Now he's claiming that he's powering a buggy with water. 4 liters for 180 kilometers, like splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen to burn. But in 1996, Ohio courts says this is fraud. It breaks physics. You need more energy to split water than you get out of it. And Meyer won't let any scientists test it. Investors end up losing $25,000, and all in all, it's game over for the company. And here's the part that makes this whole scenario fall into what could be called a conspiracy theory. Myers dies in 1998 at 57 years old at a restaurant with some Belgian investors. He runs outside and literally yells, "They poisoned me," and drops dead on the spot. But the coroner says it's from an aneurysm and high blood pressure, not from food poisoning. But if you Google this anywhere else online, you'll see people screaming about oil companies or investors getting him whacked. They say he turned down a $1 billion buyout to keep his tech free. Thing is, his patents are out there. They're out in the public domain, and nobody's built a water car since then. And if it worked, why not? I'm not saying he was poisoned, but the timing is a little sus. And he's not the only one. There's other inventors whose stories are just as weird. For instance, Rudolf Diesel. In 1913, he's pushing peanut oil for his diesel engine, not petroleum. Then he just vanishes off a ship, and his body is found later. Some say the oil cartels got him because veggie fuel really threatened their business. Now, there's no proof on this, but again, this is a little bit fishy. Then there's Tom Ogle. In the 70s, his vapor fuel system gets 200 miles on 2 gallons of gas. This is revolutionary. He's 24, showing it off, and then bam, in 1981, guess what? He's dead. Cops say overdose. Of course, it looks like a suicide, but most people swear the oil company spiked them. Even in the 70s, Garrett's team builds a hydrogen car water-based fuel. Super promising, but they get threats. Funding dries up and oil lobbying buries it. Are the oil companies killing people? It's hard to prove, but they definitely play dirty by buying patents, lobbying for gas, and making alternative fuel almost impossible. Then enter Tesla, which started in 2003 by Ebbard and Tarpenning. Their 2008 Roadster hit 245 miles and was powered by 6,831 laptop batteries. And unlike GM's EV1 leases, Tesla sells its EVs to celebrities and car nerds. Elon Musk drops $6.5 million in 2004, snags up the $465 million loan in 2010, and they build 45,000 superchargers to fix the charging mess. Over-the-air updates keep cars fresh, unlike GM's dinosaurs. By 2012, the Model S makes EVs luxe. Not a lame trick. Killer tech, hype, and building their own rules. But are EVs really green, like for real? They cut CO2 emissions by 20 to 60%. Tesla Model 3s at 108 grams versus 258 grams for gas, says the EPA. But batteries, on the other hand, kind of rough. A 63 kilogram Tesla battery pumps out 2.4 to 16 tons of CO2. Congo's got 40,000 kids mining cobalt in toxic pits. China's lithium messes up rivers, and only 5% of batteries get recycled. Most hit landfills. Coal grids like India's make charging dirtier. Other fuels tried too. Steam engines in the 1800s used coal and water. Hydrogen fuel cells like Toyota's Myra run on water-derived hydrogen, but cost a ton and there's no stations. Ethanol corn in the 70s jacked up food prices. Compressed air cars in the 1890s only got 20 miles, so they were trash. Ogle's vapor system died with him, so no scale. So how do we fix all this, right? Well, cleaner mining like Australia's geothermal lithium and recycling. Nissan and Tesla are stepping things up. Solar and wind grids make EVs and hydrogen cleaner. But oil's no angel either. Spills, wars, 53,000 US deaths a year from emissions per MIT. EVs, water cars, biofuels, none are perfect. But they're pushing us somewhere better if we clean it up. Oil's been squashing dreams forever. Maybe not with hits, but with cash and clout. So all in all, EVs flopped because of crap batteries, no chargers, and gas was just cheaper. Water cars like Myers, scientists at the time said no. They needed further testing. But those deaths, Diesel, Ogle, others, they do make you wonder. Steam, hydrogen, air, biofuels, all cool, but they all crashed. Tesla won with range, swagger, and chargers, but batteries got baggage. But are all EVs and alternative fuels really worth it? But I'm gonna leave that up to you guys. Make sure to drop a comment below if I missed any alternative fuel sources or what your favorite conspiracy theory is.